Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of data visualization. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful week. So this is our second week of class. This week is going to be a lab. So each week I will have a lab and a lecture, and the lab will always be video. So that way, last thing I don't like is I don't want to just give you guys. Typically this would have been in class, and we had hands-on in person. But what I don't want to do is give you guys a sheet and say, here, do this and that. And to me, that's not getting, you're not learning anything. But however, when I was getting my graduate degree, that's how most of my classes were. Any of the online classes were, here's a sheet, read it. Here's the homework, do it. And it was more or less just, learning something on my own, but it cost money and it was worth credits. So I said if I were taught, I would not do that. So if you check out my YouTube lineup, you'll see I have a ton of videos out there. So every class I taught, I do videos. It takes a lot, honestly. It's a lot out of me to do it, but personally, I think it's a good thing, and hopefully, I get some good feedback from people, and sometimes I get negative feedback, but that's all part of the role, to provide something good. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. So this is Tableau. It's kind of small, but I purchased recently. I upgraded my monitors, so now I have two 32-inch ViewSonic LCD 4K monitors. So I need glasses to see close up. So it's kind of small for me too, even with the glasses on, but it does provide a lot of screen. So that's a perk. So at this point, we did the lecture. So the lecture this past week was to talk about how to provide 3 normal visuals that we've created in class. So the ideal is to come up with 3 graphs per se of things that we work with. So what I'll do is the data that I'm going to use in this tab in this lab will be provided in the week 2 module. So you'll be able to download this data and use it the same way I'm doing it. What I typically do in my labs, just to give you guys a heads up. So if we're learning certain things, like this week we're learning about different modules, but different types of graphs. So what I'll do is the lab will be around that. So the assignment won't be exactly the same, but let's say the assignment is to do A, B, and C, but with data one. The assignment's that the lab will be a different set of data, but the exercise itself will be the same. And to me, that's important that, you see how it's done, you get an understanding of it, and you can apply it on your own. I know watching a video, it can be time consuming, but it's nice to be able to go back and, go from there and be able to use that as a reference. So even if we would have did this class in person, I would have still made this video just as a reference. And it's something good for me to remember too, because sometimes you tend to forget I tend to forget what I taught 2 years ago on whatever day. So it's nice to have that availability. Anyways, so I'll make sure this is recording because I did that before and went on and on and on. So hopefully here's Tableau. This right here, show you guys something real quick. This right here is an awesome photo. This is north of Alaska. Last summer I had opportunity to travel to Alaska, and we travel up into the Yukon Valley. So this is actually in Canada, north of Alaska. And so this right here I was on a small bridge. It was like a rope bridge, and I got this awesome photograph just on my phone itself. But it looks better on my big camera. But here's the mountains right here, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And the Yukon Valley was amazing to have the opportunity to see in Alaska. Anyways, so that we'll get started. All right, so I have this data that I'm going to use, and so what I'll do here is I'll kind of walk through how to import some data. So the idea of this is what we're going to try to accomplish here is to import some data. So an Excel table. So I have in a file here. So let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's this global superstore data. Yeah, sure. I'll keep it enable macros. As you can see, things are really small because that's hopefully it's big for you guys. All right. Increase a little bit. All right. So let's scroll to the top here. Oops. There we go. All right. So we have this data that I got from the internet. So it's broken down by country, postal zip code. Some don't have a postal zip code. The market it's in, APAC, EMEA. It's interesting because we use these terminologies within the other company I work for as a manager. All of our regions, all of our like territories are based off of U.S., APAC, or EMEA, which is Europe. The different areas where things are located. This one right here breaks down the region, what product it is, what category it goes into, subcategory. This right here is the product name. So, for example, let's say it's right here, Samsung smartphone with caller ID. The sales price, quantity of availability. Is there a discount? What's the profit? What's the shipping cost? That's a lot. Well, I guess if you're shipping that many, and then what's the order priority? So, how quick should we get it? So this is a ton of data. That's the orders, and then we also have a tab here for returns. This will break it down. Was it returned, yes or no? What was the order ID? What market was it? And then we have some data, has some people in it too. So for example, we said miscellaneous names here, person. We have the different regions and so forth. So the idea here is to take this and import it into Tableau and then use it as our advantage. So it looks a lot cleaner when you import it into Tableau. So I know that some of you have used Tableau, some of you haven't used Tableau. So it's a pretty powerful tool. I will say that coming up in the industry, working in business intelligence, data analysis, whatever, in my time, things have changed so often. Like when I came in early on, everything was using SAS. So everybody was using that as their way to protect data, how to analyze stuff, and then it changed a little bit. Things went into a different degree. You've seen all these different tools that were available. Cognos was one of the very popular ones, like in the late, maybe early 2000, mid 2000s was Cognos, and then Oracle came on the scene and they introduced something called OBIE, which is Oracle Business Intelligence. It was another tool that Oracle used, and to be honest with you, it was a very expensive tool. We utilized it, one of the companies I worked for, but to be honest with you, it was terrible. It was a terrible tool to use. But it was an upgrade from a lot of people were using Microsoft. They had the analytical tools, and then they also had the reporting tool. So it was an upgrade from that, but from the most part, to me, I didn't find it as a comprehensive, good tool to use. But then later on, Tableau came out, and I think other things came out before that. But Tableau has been pretty popular. One of the cool things is at Point Park, we did a data, a data competition, data science competition last year. It was, this is 2020, so it was 2019 spring. We were going to do it again this spring, but we didn't get enough, buy-in on it from other people. And then on top of that, we didn't get enough, and then COVID happened, so it wouldn't happen anyways. But it was a data competition that we had last year. And so what it was is there was a lot of people interested at first. And then it came down to like 2 or 3, anywhere from 2 to 4 people that were in a group. So 2 of my students in my class, they ended up winning first place, and they did a phenomenal job. What was interesting is they won first place, so it was almost like a Stanley Cup trophy got engraved with their name in it. And then this past semester, those two, a gentleman and a female, they were in it was a marketing slash IT or computer science hackathon that they participated in. And then there was another female student of mine in that competition, and they competed with other schools, and they won first place. So I think they won like $5,000 and some other prizes. So it was a pretty good thing. So they got the two people in my class. They're on a roll with winning all these competitions, which is cool though. It's good for resume. But anyways, they did a competition. Hopefully we'll have it again next spring when things are back to normal. All right, so I ain't gonna say that. All right, so anyways, I don't, like I said, this file at this point will be available in the exercise. All right, so this video is gonna be kind of long, so I'll split it up a little bit. All right, so you have all these different tools here. So I'm using a Mac. I'm not sure what everyone else is using, so I don't have the PC version to go over. I used to try to do that and do videos in both, but it just is a lot. Anyways, you can sign in. I'm not signing in if you have a server. You have the different files that you can choose: Excel, a text file, a JSON file, a PDF, a spatial file, a statistical file, and then there's a lot more different files that you could choose from. So, as you see here, you can save it as a Tableau file and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways of opening data. But what I'm going to do here is, and you could also connect to a server. So in this case, if you had MySQL, if you had MySQL, so I could probably, actually, let me see this here. Put my information here. Oops. And I'm not sure if this will work. I'd have to actually pull up my database to see what I have to pull into it. So it'd be a good exercise to see. Just bear with me. I didn't plan on doing this, but I wanted to see if I could do it so I could show you guys. All right, so let's see here. I have a lot of things here because I have students' accounts who forget how to log into their stuff. And then it's me logging in to help them out. I think it's not the right password. I guess it is the right password. All right, let's see what we got here for attendance. No, let's gotta find something with some data in it. TripAdvisor, what is that? Nothing apparently. SJBC is something I know with boat and owners. So this has some data, I think. All right, so apparently it doesn't have data. All right, what the heck? I know it's been so long since I played with this. Let's see here. This might have some data here. All right, so it has some data. So we'll go with OM is our database, username, JSeaman. All right, why is it not liking that? Nope, I don't need that. Oh, I have to download drivers. Really? All right. Well, see, I thought I was gonna have to do that. All right, we'll come back to this. Once I download the drivers, I'll show you guys how to. I don't want that. I want a select statement. I'll show you guys how to do that. So I don't want to walk through this whole process here. Let's see real quick. Download a file. It's just downloading a file. Maybe let's see if this works real quick. I guess I wasn't prepared to do this, but I seen it and I thought, what the heck? Let's see. Sure. What's my password? Let's see if this works. Oh, that was quick. I'm not sure if that'll fix the problem, but trash. Download and install MySQL connector by iOS. I probably have to log into it and connect to it behind the scenes too, I bet. Because let's do this. I'm gonna try something real quick. Let me go back to MySQL. Yeah, it still has that there. So I'll have to come back to this. I'll play around with this again. At least I didn't put any. So here's some other cool things you could do. I didn't see this Spark we could connect to. I'm wondering if there's Firebase out here. Dropbox. Geez, there's there's stuff out here I've never even heard of. Mongo, that's good. So there's a lot of things. So we'll get back to this and show you how I got connected to a database to do all these cool things. So we'll get that going. Right now, we'll just go and just start off with Excel. I'll find my file, Global Superstore, and hit open. All right, cool. So what it does here is it brings up this thing where you could drag. So if you remember, we had 3 tabs in Excel: orders, peoples, and returns. So we could just drag or double click on it. So if I would do this, it'll pull stuff over, or I could come over here and just drag this and put it right next to orders. What it does automatically is it joins these 2 tables. So instead, double click on this, it'll show me what type of join it is. You could do a right join. So right now it's using an inner join. And just a refresher, inner join is a one-to-one relationship. So where you have a value, let's say order ID. So it's reading off of order ID, for example. So if that's the case, then that's a one-to-one relationship. Or if it's like, if you're using a left join or a right join, you'll get all the values. And it'll show you like where your null values are at and so forth. So that's what's going on here. We could also throw in people. So, and then it does a link on it, and then, it breaks down the data even more. So you'll see here is when you do this, you have a nice little breakdown of data. You could do a sort. So you could click on here. You could describe stuff. You could copy stuff. You could hide stuff. So you could sort by ascending, descending, whatever the case is. Right now it's on order date. You could do it by this as well. Order date starts here. Customer JSON written. So I'm going to take persons out because it'll give me a more better list of data here. So you get your countries. So you get all this information here. It shows you, let's see if I can bring this over here, how many rows there are. You can show hidden rows if there's any hidden rows. So this screen here is pretty awesome. Move this up for a second, see what the heck I'm looking at. Cool. So this right here is our data source. So this would be the same thing as if we were pulling it directly from, if we're pulling it from a database, which is very common. So that's a good thing. If you have questions, just let me know. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is a pretty cool screen. Looks a lot better in Excel. So next thing I'm going to do is click on Sheet here. This will allow us to start dragging data over, allow us to create a different environment. So we'll be able to choose different graphs that we could choose, standard. So this right here itself, you see it has all these other options. So you could create a new worksheet, kind of works like Excel a little bit. You have a dashboard, you can create a new story. Are we going to get into all this stuff today? Absolutely not, because that would confuse us all. So that's not what I'm in the business of doing, is confusing people. So I'd like to pause and see, is there any questions here? In this case, there's not going to be any questions because nobody's going to answer me. All right. Let's drag some of this data over here, see what we could do. So we have all these different columns here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find category. And you guys can play around with this, and that's what I want you guys to do, is play around with it a little bit. So I'll throw it over to rows. So now we start bringing some data in here. As you see where it says sheet 1, you could call it something else. So I'll just say my first report. You could change the font to something else. You could choose different colors, whole 9 yards. Keep it like that. Then I'll bring over market. There we go. So now you see it's building like kind of like a pivot table per se. And then let's say the columns that we want to bring in. Let's see here. We want to do a summary of the columns. If I could type that in. So if I do say sum, I could type in a formula here, an expression. So I can say sum Do quantity. There we go. Oops, did it not? Okay, cool. Oh, didn't like it because I can't type. All right, if I type, it'd be better. There we go. So when you can type, it turns out better. So as you see here, I just use an expression for sum or quantity. We have our category and our market. So it breaks it down a little bit. So now it breaks it down by category. So you have furniture, office supplies, and technology. So this little graph here shows you, and it's using these graphs over here. You could change it up. So we have the market that we're in. So hopefully you guys can see this because it is kind of small. So you have the APAC market, the Europe market. It shows you based off the quantity how many items that you sold. So for example, furniture in Europe, we're at 1.6 million roughly. Over here we got 2.6 million, and over here, so right here we're kind of blowing up the market. We're at 6.8 million office supplies. Now these are some of the different visuals. You could change it up. So you're more of a pie person. You could do a pie chart. It all based off of what type of person you are. Different people I work with in the industry. So like, for example, at my company right now, I usually have, I do something, we have 2-week sprints. So I handle all the sprint planning sessions. I handle a lot of stuff because I'm in charge of all the business operations. And one of the things that we do is people like to see is reports. Certain people, like pie charts are like the greatest thing ever at where I work at, because everybody wants to see pie chart. They want to see a pie chart broken down by each person in the services and how they're doing. Like they want to see high level of all of our services, how we're doing on our tickets, and the tickets usually project work. It could be high level things that we're doing. Like for example, this week we're upgrading TLS, which is a transport security layer, from 1.1 to 1.2. Now, that is a common thing with the internet. Right now they're introducing 1.3, so we're a little behind. So what I expect to do is everything is going to crash, and I'm going to be on a computer from Thursday night to Friday morning. But hopefully I'm wrong. But anyways, these graphs help out with it. So these are different graphs. You could come over and play around with it. You could choose this one. You could choose that one. Choose something like this. As you see here, all these different graphs. Yeah, I'm always going to choose something that's more common that people are more familiar with. I didn't like the pie graph itself. It's too small for me. It doesn't tell me enough. I like to be able, I think if you hover over it, it'll still tell you the breakdown. Unless I was able to make it larger, then I'd be more excited. But like something like this to me is a little bit better. You could change the size of it, obviously. So if you want to increase it or whatever, you can. You could do tool tips, which are good. So it's just when you hover over something, it gives you some type of feedback, some type of value, whatever the case is. Hopefully you guys don't have any questions. Here is, I have the, I don't like that, how that is. So let's switch this back real quick. Whoops. I didn't like that. This right here, I have columns. Okay, that's right. Let's see here. I thought something looked different, and I thought I had more values too off of the markets. Like, let's come over here real quick. The market itself. Where's markets at? I guess Europe. Okay, so let's go down here real quick. We do have Europe. I thought there was more values there. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. If I take off returns, let's take off returns. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Now let's go back to sheets. That's what I wanted to do. So what I did is I removed the returns and went just to orders. Now you see the breakdown is a lot bigger, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see more. So you see in Canada, we're doing really bad. In furniture, we're still excelling. US is doing really good, but this area, APAC, is doing even better. So it just depends. and then it breaks it down. This right here is beautiful. I mean, this right here tells, I could go in here and look at it and say, okay, oh, now I know what's going on. 1 second. One thing I should show you is when I did a quantity, I typed it in, so that was one way I could do it. Let's say that we wanted to do total sales. I could come over here and type in the expression, or what I failed to show you is we have different measures down here. So let's say I wanted to do sales. I could just drag sales and put it up here. Oh, that looks awful. What the heck happened here? All right. So, yeah. Well, it shows it here. Let's see it real quick. But I don't know why it adds that extra map. I don't like that. Market. All right, now it breaks it down by market and sales. Let's do this. Let's actually wipe this out. Let's delete this data. Let's delete that. Delete this. Start from scratch here. Let's say that we just wanted to get total sales. I'll just keep them up, total report. What we could do here is we could grab our sales and we can throw it up on our rows here. Boom. We do that, and what it does is it gives us like a good overview. Category furniture, we had 4.1 million in sales. Over here in office supplies, we had 3.7. You could change your graph around if you want to, maybe, or you have it like that. You could change it over here and do this. I had that graph going. You could do a pie chart. You definitely want to make it bigger in that case. But anyways, you could do this. Let's say that you wanted to do, let's see here, change this here around. So let's say some sales. I like typing stuff in here. And then what we could do here is we could do, let's get rid of this, and we could do maybe by date per se. So let's see if we have, I thought order date was here. Okay, order date. So I could drag order date up here, and then automatically it does like a burn down graph. So it shows you where, sales started in 2011 and then 2012, and you could do the math. There's other ways that we calculate it. So like originally we started off with 2.259. And then in 2012, we went up to about almost 500,000. As you see, it's been an incline. In 3 years, we went up by roughly 2 million orders, sales, whatever the case is. So this right here is nice. So you could do this graph. You could do pretty much, that was automatic. You could do other different graphs. You could come over here. So as you see, you could do so many different graphs. You could do the bar graph. If you're a bar type of person, you could do an area map. Like it just depends on who your audience is, I like to say. Gantt chart, that to me looks awful. This right here is fine. This right here shows a increase. That's what people want to see. To me, it's important to whoever your audience is. You'll know who your audience is. You'll know what they drive on. You'll know what they're interested in. That's what matters the most at this point. Any questions? I'll pause for a moment here. We have year by date, but let's say that we wanted to get greater detail. We want to do by quarter to see how we did on quarters. You can even go further if you click on that and say you want to do by month. So it depends on. So in 2011, you can say, hey, you know what? In June we had. It looks like it was just an increase on numbers, and then it has the months here. So let's see, 98,000 in January, but in February we went down, and then we went out, we went down. So this right here shows off by month. If you want to do by quarter, by year, typically in this case, a lot of people will want to do traditionally by high level. Traditionally, what people are curious about is by year and by quarter. Currently, within my organization, our fiscal year is different than the typical fiscal year. We're July to July. So right now we are in the end of 2020. And so let's see, it's May, so we're in the last quarter of 2020. So it's going to be a busy month because we have 2 months before 2021 fiscal year begins for us. So we're trying to knock out a lot of stuff that we can, that we possibly can, and that's important. So our leadership team above me, from my leadership team, they like to see breakdowns by year and mainly by quarter. They want to see what you did in a quarter. So like right now, what I'm doing is I'm working on an analysis report to provide in this quarter. I want to do a story, and the story is going to have a graph that shows all the different projects that we took on, the roller coaster ride up and down. It's also going to spell out, hey, during the COVID period of time, which was, the third and fourth quarter, here's how we did. Did we do good or did we do bad? And then also I want to tell a story of, during the time, the team worked out well. We were able to overcome, and it really doesn't affect us as much from a work exposure, because the majority of my team, and including my leadership team, is all remote anyways. Some of my leadership team, like my office is located in Los Angeles, California, and Tampa, Florida. And I'm here in Pittsburgh, and traditionally, some of the people in the different offices, have to go into the office a couple of days a week, where I don't have anything to do with the Pittsburgh office at all. So I don't, and some of the other people don't have to go into the office as well. So it just depends. So the majority of us are remote anyways, so it doesn't really affect our work. But, then life sets in where you can't go and do your normal thing. So then that does have a little effect on your job in essence. So hopefully this is good. You can see that you could do different graphs. So we did that graph right there. You might want to do something crazy like this. It just, it changes. You could do something like this. Looks like a cartoon. But nonetheless, as you see here, you could break it down if you want by day. I don't know who wants to do it by day. It just gets really crazy. That to me is too much. Let's remove that right there, maybe. But Tableau is pretty good. By quarter, I think is good. Each quarter, you can see where you're at. Any questions? Hopefully, you guys have tons of questions. So one of the things I'm going to do here is all right, I thought that was blinking. I'm looking for you guys to provide some questions if you have. So I'll have a question area this week. Also on Slack, it's a good way to ask questions as well. And I'm back. Sorry, I apologize for that. I got pinged that our server was low on disk space, which was like 20 gigs, and had to have somebody from my team page so that they could purge about 60 gigabytes of space. IT, you're always on call. All right, so let's move on to a couple other things I was looking at doing. Let's see here. Measure, that's not it. I want to do a quick analysis on something here. Try to locate it real quick. So I got month. I should do month over day. So let's do this. Let's change it down. We had quarter. Let's do by month. Let's take this off here. Oops. Let's remove this one here. Let's do by month. Something like this real quick. Maybe like this. That was fine. Or can't do that one here. Anyways, let's say that we wanted to provide something else. So let's say we click on sum by sales. We wanted to go down and do quick table calculations. So you could do differences, you could do percentages, you could do a ton of different things. You could do a compound growth rate. As you see here, you get a different rate. You could click on here and let's see here, quick table. We could do, say, a difference. You can see the difference. You can choose different charts. You can see how, come on. There we go. So you can see over time how things, month to month, August, the difference in sales and previous alone a month was 544,000. So it'll provide you that. This right here is the story. This right here, when you read this, this gives you an overview of what's happening. But the tooltip here, when you hover over it, is providing you a story of what's happening here. Okay, during the month of March, there was a $226,000 difference, or number difference. So hopefully this is just a small introduction, and we'll learn a lot more with this. But this is what we're looking for you guys to do this week, is producing 3 different visual reports. I'll give you guys this data. I want you guys to come up with something, use different data than I used. So I come up with different things. You guys can come up with other stuff as well. And then I think I want to export it out into a PDF file. So you could export it to PowerPoint. I'm fine with PowerPoint or PDF, whatever. Showing your PDF is probably a lot easier. So if you have any questions on this, Slack me. I'll be more than happy to help you. Hopefully this is a good start. I'm not sure how many people have a Mac, so I'm using a Mac. You might be using a PC. And then we'll get back to it, and I'll show you guys how to do the data when connecting to the database, because we'll do that in upcoming weeks as well. I think we've been at this for about 36 minutes, it looks like. So not too bad. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.